live.
Oh, we live.
We live. Let me get my coffee so I can talk to the people. Please. Oh, I think computer too.
You name a Peter.
My computer. You know, go ahead. Can you ask questions?
Ouch! Just stepped on the. Yep, stepped on that.
It's exciting, stepping on cords and stuff.
Yeah, Candace. What up? What up? That doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good.
That camera doesn't. I'm going to reposition it. Yep, stepping on cords. So we need that to be right in the center. Either punch it in. Look at it through the. Use your Meg the Stallion knees. And I shouldn't be right in the middle. Make us a third. You might have to tilt down or just switch. You sit down and I'll figure it out. Where you gonna sit? I just wanted to make sure you.
Calm down.
That's fine, yo.
It's not even.
It's not. What's up, Muhammad?
Yeah.
Oh. How you feel about the lighting?
That ISO is different.
How you feel about the lighting?
I'm telling you, it's different.
I don't know what that means.
I'm fixing it.
You just said something specifically. It's like, how you feel about the car? The tires is
it's trash.
Candace. I feel like everyone needs to brush their teeth at least 3 times.
Are you trying to tell me something?
Yes.
That's like.
You have the camera.
What do you think? You see it?
It's different with the monitor, though.
Okay, I will see what you do.
I know. Let's get your thoughts right.
Is this like this backpack is even? Hola, what's up? How you doing on this Sunday, people? Testing. How you doing, Candace? It's been a while. For me, I don't know the last time Dion went live, so it's been a while. I went live. Testing. Try it over here. My mic is not great. Testing. Nope. Been around, but I'm gonna try to be more consistent. Not next weekend because I'm out of town next weekend, but the weekend after that, I'll be back. It's been a little busy, but it's getting better. I'll be right back. Gotta fix this audio. Yeah, but I just got up. I had to fix the audio. Yeah. Yes, because the sound wasn't working. The sound wasn't right, so I had to fix it. I'm multitasking. Let's see. I could have bought the headphones over to test it with me, but I didn't. So here we go. Hopefully this worked. Yes, I am back. We are working. All Dion has to do is press record when he comes around here. Yeah, your phone's over here. Yeah, Dion told me I could sing. This week I heard I could sing. Should have never. Ain't that right?
I said that a different octave.
Don't worry about it. Did you say
what song
the
was it?
basis of it?
What song
Don't
was
worry
it?
about it. The basis of it was that I can sing.
Well, it was
Did you say at any point
No.
this week?
I didn't say that. I said that sounded good.
Same thing. I can sing.
I said that sounded good.
I can sing.
If you had said a motivational word, I said, "Ooh, that sounded good."
Ooh-wee. That girl got
Alcohol in her
vocals.
body.
She just got caffeine in her body.
She got bottomless mimosas.
That was yesterday.
I think you might have a problem.
It wasn't even bottomless. I did one thing. A bottle. So it wasn't bottomless. We had a bottle. It was 3 of us. So it wasn't that bottomless. It was definitely finite.
Nice.
A bottom mimosa.
Bottomless anything sounds great. A bottomless human, specifically a female. I
A bottomless female? You don't want a woman with a booty?
I shouldn't say bottomless. I was thinking of garb.
What?
As in, no. So why can we say bottomless? So hold on. Don't
I'm
Google anything. You better start Googling stuff.
No.
You better start Googling stuff.
Y'all see my new
So look.
Look at that.
If I say, "Oh, she was bottomless,"
Wait, the poop was bottomless.
right? Thank you. But if I say topless, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But as soon as I say bottomless, you say, "Oh, she ain't got no legs."
That's directly what I went to. Yes.
If I say she was bottomless,
Pantless.
no. Bottom, top, bottom, bottomless, topless.
Do you regularly call like pants and skirts the bottoms? Do you?
Yes, tops and bottoms. You gotta say it together, right?
I guess I don't refer to it that way, but if that's what you refer to, that's on you, and
Right.
That works.
Bottomless mimosas.
Science. It isn't okay. I'm gonna give you science. It's not science.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right,
Are
we
you
got
recording?
a quick one, y'all. Yeah, we're recording.
Oh, let's go.
Yo, welcome back to another
random ass convos with Twilla and Dion.
Ironically, is with Dion because we have somebody's coming in, but
Next 2 episodes.
Can I finish up? You ruined. Okay, sheesh.
I'm excited.
No, I wasn't even talking about that.
Oh, I was excited to replace you.
No.
I'm sorry. What?
Sheesh. You drunk?
No, I have caffeine in my
system.
system.
So sorry, y'all. This is Random Ass Conversations with Twilla and Dion. Specifically with
that struggle.
The bottomless mimosas, specifically with Trilla. Unfortunately, the person that was supposed to come in today did not show up, so I'll usually be behind the camera. So she's like, Dion, please, I don't want to do this by myself. I want to have a message. So I was like, okay, I'll come in and do this for you. But this
my question is like, we've been doing this how many episodes?
You just bad at booking people.
I'm bad at booking. So how bad am I? Well, because I'm a producer, so I really want to know how bad. Like, how do I keep striking out?
53-2 because you had 2 other people that came in replacement. So just I got throwing it out there.
Wow. Anyway, guys, I'm so excited to do. I feel like it's been a while since we recorded. We came into the booth. We were able to do this.
It's not my fault. So just throwing it out there. One time, Twill said, "Hey, do you want to record today?" I said, "Yes." I just don't want to set up. She said, "Yeah, good work. You're right. Let's just do it next week."
Yo,
she could have said, "Yeah, I'll do it."
I could have, but also I feel like your daughter was around, and I was like, "Let them have."
Oh my gosh, yo,
let them have bonding time. You just
figured out tall tales.
Like, let them spend time together. You know, she don't want to come hear what we had to say. No, I was being selfless.
Right.
Selfless.
Lazy is the word from
that. That is not accurate.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dion. Yeah. I feel like we got topics to talk about.
We do got topics to talk about.
I'm gonna jump in heavy.
Go for it.
And I'm upset that we got to do this.
Go for it.
As you know, there was another mass shooting in this country. I don't know where we're at this year. I've honestly lost count.
Keep talking.
But specifically, this is being investigated as a hate crime, as it should be, because the young man's manifesto was to target Black people. He is a proud white supremacist and a proud anti-Semitic. Semitic. I have to say it properly. But he, on 4chan, came across all these schools of thoughts and all these false things. And he was saying, that kind of got him geared up. So he drove to another city because there was a high population of Black people in this city. From? I believe he's from New York. I didn't look up that detail, but he drove to a area that's populated with Black people, got there a day before the shooting so he could scout out where to shoot people, and killed 10 people, 11 people in the process.
How do they know where he was scouting out? He said it himself?
Yeah. This is all through investigation, like they're letting it.
Probably following his phone.
Yeah. Well, you know what pisses me off? He had last year, there was a very similar situation where they had found where he was talking, like posting these things and talking similarly and making these threats. So they arrested him. They arrested him and took him in to do a mental evaluation for a day and a half and then released him. So it's like, I don't know why people are like, when a white kid does something, like he's about to do something, it's like, oh, he's having a mental breakdown. Like when these people, this is terrorism. There's no mental breakdown to terrorism. This is somebody who is being indoctrinated to think this certain way. They are terrorists, homegrown terrorists. And if he, has said and he stated that these are his thoughts and this is what he desires to do to these populations, that's a threat and that should be acted upon. Not merely like, oh, well, we see that he's, his evaluation, he's fine. Like, you don't have to be.
So I'm never the one to take up. I'm never the one to take up for white people. But you also have to look at it. You also have to look at it like it is a them versus us. If I was okay, here we go. This is a scenario. We all know the harness things that Bill Cosby has done.
The heinous things, yeah.
I'm saying harness.
Okay.
Because that's
no, it's very serious. I shouldn't have. The harness things he's done.
Things that held people from the crotch. The harness things.
Dang it, Tia.
He's held people from the crotch. He grabbed them by the vagina. Okay.
Okay, Donald.
He's the harness things. But if a white person say, That man needs to be hung. That man is a rapist. That man's like, yo, let us handle the down talking. Let us talk about him bad. So when white people see another white person acting up, it's like how can we sort of like massage the truth versus be very specific. Like this man is a white supremacist. He is a, you know what I'm saying? It's so hard to say it because like even though we know all the black people have done crazy things, people like this dude crazy. This dude is wild. We don't be very, very specific. We like, but it feels different when a white person is talking about the same person we're talking about.
Yeah, and I think that comes from so much that's rooted in racism and systemic racism and all the things that we have to deal with. Like we don't want, because it feels like if you a group of people is talking poorly against like a black person, it feels like an accusation against the entire race. And for so long, we've had to care about what that image is that we portray, because it's like, hey, we're not all like this, and you can't talk, like you don't get to talk about this man this way. Yes, his crimes were heinous. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But at the sense that like, like white people being in the majority of this country, or in the non-oppressed in this country. So when you're able to be like, when a person is a terrorist, a white supremacist, they don't have to say, well, all white people aren't this way. Right. You know what I mean? We know that, but it's like this country is so like stuck and like not dealing with the issue. Like
them versus us, yeah.
Them versus us, but so not wanting to deal, like we can't even teach critical race theory, or whatever people think that is. They don't want to teach race and like history in school anymore. And when you don't teach history in school, you get repeats of what's happened throughout history. So you get like these people, I mean, like modern day Klans members, these white supremacists who are being fed these wrong ideas at home and online, and you worried about freedom of speech online. Like you get to come across all these schools of thoughts, but you don't want to correct it at school where you can actually learn actual factual history. And then like you don't want to condemn something as racist because you want to pretend that racism doesn't exist. Like, and I think that's the problem. We live in a country that doesn't want to pretend that racism exists. We live in a country where we want to get our way, and we don't want to feel like that kid should never have a gun. Like how, like how are people able to access these guns? We don't want to talk about gun rights, but we're willing to tell women what to do with their bodies. There's so much that's happening in this country that's just like, make it make sense. Nothing about this is pro-life. Nothing about this is, I don't know, like we're not talking about the real issues. We're not getting at the root. And as Zakaria mentioned, like the George Floyd being unarmed and they killed him. It's just always like we have a target on our back no matter what we do. And it's frustrating. Like it's frustrating to live in this country and to see that, a black person was targeted again, like this time by a terrorist, whether it be a cop who can be a terrorist depending on their school of thought. It could be, like no matter what it is, like we're somewhere, we have an X on our back. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
It's exhausting to be black in this country.
But what's crazy is we're also saying stuff like, why didn't the police kill him? Right. So it's like we're saying that because they typically kill black people, which he's 100% a threat. So is that the time when police are supposed to kill people?
I mean, like he visibly had a gun in his hand.
Right.
I'm not saying like, I don't think a police should, like, if there's a way you can take down somebody without having to kill them, do it. Right. But the thought is so many times you're like, well, we thought he was armed. We thought he was, and a majority of times these black people are not armed. Yeah. You're not armed. You're scared of the blackness of their skin. That's the the armor that you're concerned about, the blackness of our skin.
And always, but go ahead.
I was gonna say, when we have seen white serial killers with deadly machine weapons killing people in mass come out alive.
And we seen the mass shooter. He had a camera on him. You know that?
This one?
He had a camera on him, and he literally pointed at a white guy and was like, "Oh, you good?" Like he was like, and he kept going. So he streamed the whole fight, the whole shooting.
Yeah,
and
that's
passed
ridiculous.
the white guy up. What do you say?
If you look at what the racist was wearing, he had on the symbol of the neo-Nazi Azov, but I don't know that last name, from Ukraine. Yeah, it's deep. Like there are still active groups of. I mean, we talked about it before on this podcast. Like going to North Carolina, Dion didn't realize that we encountered some people from the KKK. I noticed it right away. Like I was like, let's get up out of here. And it's alive, and like we see these things, and it's like, well, let's not talk about racism in school. That's fake history.
So let me ask you this:
like,
so white people typically control the narrative when it comes to history books, right? Because they have. We just need to get more power to our history.
Yeah.
But if somebody was like, Twills, can you write a book about how your grandfather and his family used to rape and pillage people? People like, why do I got to keep writing this? Can we figure out a way to tell our history without being so specific? Like, yeah, but it's your grandfather. I need for you to write it down and tell them, get in very detail what your grandfather did.
Well, and that's the problem. And that's the problem. Maybe I shouldn't be writing about my grandfather. Maybe somebody else should be able to look at the facts about my grandfather. And I can be very uncomfortable if that was the case. If that was the case, it's not the case. That was a, you gotta, I know, but sound bites in life. But pretty much like, if that was the case, if somebody approached me and said, can I write that history? That's poor taste on them. Like you should not approach me to ask me to write that history, because I'm becoming from an obvious biased standpoint. And I'm going to try to make it sound not as bad, or, well, this is the reason why it happened this way, versus like somebody who can be non-biased and have an opinion on that from a scholastic standpoint. Like, these are the facts. This is what happened. This is what led to this. This was the time. Like, if you have several people talking about it, because history is not always black and white, but here are the facts. This is what happened to this group of people. Now, at the time, somebody could talk about it from an economic standpoint, somebody who could talk about it from a sociological standpoint, and somebody who could talk about it from a legal standpoint. All those things pour into like what history is. And let's talk about it factually. Like, yes, slavery happened.
Right.
There were human beings that were treated as animals, who were enslaved and, belittled for a long portion of our American history. And because of the indoctrination throughout that time, there were school of thoughts that people actually thought that this group of people who were enslaved, these Black people who were enslaved, was lesser than the rest of the groups and people. And because of that, this classist society was created. And because of that, we're still dealing with the ills of that. Like, and because of that, like, let's take the emotion out of it. It sucked. History sucked. And like, our people suffered at it, at the hands of that. And now we can't even talk about it at school because of what white kids' feelings might be.
Right. Well, I think it is definitely the white kids going back to their parents. It was like, okay, hey, Dad, is it true that our ancestors enslaved? Oh,
well, not our ancestors. On your mother's side, they were from the South, and we were still in Ireland at the time. Yeah. And I mean, nobody's really equipped to how to deal with that. That's another thing that we have to deal with. And you talk about it on that level, like with kids going back home and teaching stuff, telling their parents stuff. I was listening to an NPR show. I forget what show it was. Science. I don't know, one of the science shows. But they were talking about like how in California we've seen a large amount of fires, and all this can be contributed to climate change. And so there's this one community that had to evacuate the largest fire last year. And like they were set up in this like makeshift grocery store. The school's set up in this grocery store until they're able to rebuild their town. But when the teachers during like Earth Month or whatever had to teach, it was talking about global warming, and it got back to the parents were like, well, that's not real. Like, but the way the teacher was teaching it was more factual, like, hey, let's look at different points in the world and let's chart their temperatures for the past 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if we see a pattern. So the kids could choose. And it was like, well, what is the pattern that you're seeing? They're like, that is getting hotter. And so the kids are saying, going home and being like, well, Mr. So-and-so showed us that the earth is getting hotter. And the parents were like, well, don't tell nobody at school, but we don't believe in global warming, that sort of thing. And it's like, you literally had to leave your house because of these fires that are happening more and more frequently because it's hot AF outside.
There's no water.
There's no water. We're in a drought. There's nothing happening, but you feel a way that your kid is being taught about global warming. Like,
I mean, if you have a certain teaching, if you follow, I'm not saying this is true. I mean, this is accurate. But if you somehow follow some sort of teaching, follow some sort of podcast that has enlightened you, and then your child comes home to something that is the complete opposite, you're gonna feel a certain way. You can be like, I need to go to the school and tell them how I feel, man. The Illuminati eat babies, and I don't like how y'all saying hard work pays off. Haven't you seen the conspiracies?
Yeah.
It's a rough thing if your parent is wrapped up in some sort of toxic study or something that is loosely based, and then your child is being fed a smidge of truth.
Yeah. It's really, I guess to me, it's really interesting. I don't have kids, so I don't know. To me, I think, like, what's the point of sending your kids to school? You want them to go to be educated, to be able to get, be smart enough to go to college, get a good job, whatever is the reason, to be able to take part in, intelligent conversations, to learn to be a thinker and come up to conclusions on your own. And so, like, maybe it is a thing that, well, we're going to talk about climate change, but understand there's some people that don't believe in this because of whatever reason, maybe handing kids perspective to be that way. But it's just kind of like, I feel like there are a lot of people who are like, I want to send my kid not to be a free thinker or to think openly about the world around them, but to think based on like what I think and what we learn in church, what, depending on your church, could be some off stuff. So it's just like, but I want the school to teach them that. And I don't think that's a public school's responsibility. Like, we should be raising people to contribute to society in a positive way. And whatever that is, I do think everybody, like, I don't think people should have to be taught to think one certain way, but to be open to schools of thought. But I don't know. I don't see it with these parents.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Zakaria had a great point.
Love to hear it.
I'm assuming this is a she, Zakaria. She said, if the shooter thinks he's a tough guy, killing innocent people, send him to Afghanistan and fight. We will make sure to get rid of him from the planet after breaking every bone in him. Sheesh. Yeah. I mean, I love that they're not saying his name because that's what typically they want. They want him to feel like he is a legend.
Yeah,
like,
it gives them like a level of notoriety. Like, we can name these, these serial. I think it's almost like people really know serial killers' names and their killings and their victims, and we are in a society that's obsessed by these like murder. Real life murder docs and all this type of things. Like, it's just, I mean, beyond that. But yeah, I love the fact that they're not.
Do you feel like segregation could help? I know sounds very racist.
That's an actual school of thought.
Do you think, like, if we split United States down the middle, it's like you guys go left, we go right, and it's like now that we are separate, let's see how well we live. Only problem is there's a lot of people right now. There's interracial people.
You got to choose a side.
Yeah, all interracial. It'd be like a minute. Was it a Metropolitan ice cream? What's it called?
Neapolitan.
Metropolis ice
Oh
cream.
my gosh.
What is it called? Neapolitan.
Neapolitan. I feel like at one point I heard you say Neapolitan back in the day.
Neapolitan. I think this is a great idea. If we divided United States, what about other races though?
Right. There's actual school of thought that says that Black America, I can't speak for the rest of, any other ethnic group, but Black America did better in when we were separate but equal. We had our own communities, like we supported our own stores, our business groups, like Black businesses were thriving. We had, Black, millionaires, people making money. We had our whole education. We're able to support our communities. There's thoughts that like Black people have struggled through, migration, going to bigger cities, having to assimilate, and we losing Black cultures. There's actual schools of thoughts. I think Charles Blow has a book called The Devil You Know, that based on that idea of what would happen with Black people
if we all separated.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it working, but just imagine if we went to the East Coast. They'd be like, hey, they just passed a bill that all Black people is going to be on the East Coast. You were like, yo,
it's so humid on the East Coast.
right. Because I like you really gotta want to kill somebody. We gotta go over the borderline and kill these niggas. Why? We ain't bothering you.
But I don't think it should be like, like if this was the case, because I miss some of my friends. Like we'd be separated. We gotta go visit.
There's always Zoom.
You gotta Zoom and be like, hey y'all, let's go visit. I think that it have to be like you're allowed to visit, you're allowed to like, it can't be like no white people here ever or no Black people unless they're the colonizing type. Or, like I feel like there has to be a middle ground where you can go and hang out with your people.
Yeah.
My social life just got real sad.
Yeah, you do hang around a lot more white people than Black people. So I think it'd be dope if it was like 6 ways. If it was like the main, sounds so racist. The main races, as in like Black, white, Hispanic, Asian.
Yeah.
And then there's a neutral area in the middle of the United States. If segregation came back, and then the neutral people that had some sort of biracialism in them, they're right in the middle.
I don't want it.
Of course, no one wants it.
I'm sitting there thinking about. I was just like, think about like all your favorite foods that you like to eat. Like,
you don't think Black people going to know how to start cooking Chinese?
I mean,
food?
of course, it would be a little bit, but we have a little spin on it. We have a little season, a little Lowry's on it. On top of that,
why is this white rice so salty?
but I'm saying like at the same time, like maybe it's like, hey, if you don't want to be part, more so like if you don't want to be part of this society that is thriving and diverse and beautiful, how about you go choose your separate country? Like that should be the option. Like you're allowed to go there, but get away from the rest of us that's doing.
What about sports too?
Well, we know who went in that.
Sports is crazy. Jamoya, what up, girl? Welcome. Leave me alone about my wording. It would work. Candace says it would work if they would leave us alone, but they won't remember Tulsa. Yeah.
Remember Tulsa? Was it Wilmington, Delaware? All these places. You're right.
Talking to you, Jamoya.
You're right. You're right, Twilla. Every time that was happening, majority saw fit to end that. Example at Wall Street, Rosewood, and all the other places that we were doing well. Yep. They won't let us be. So we gotta, I keep saying like people laugh at me. Like there was what's the Game of Thrones, the term, I can't remember, but basically burn it down. Like when I say that when it comes to our culture and our society, it's not like, let's get rid of the United States, but let's like, United States needs to be completely rewritten. And I know this is unreal or whatever, but it's like our laws, everything systemically like is
rooted in selfishness, white people.
Yeah, like white it's men. It's not for women, it's not for people of color, it's not for gay people, it's not for, people who are differently abled. It's for cisgendered white men who are, whatever, that group of men with a certain amount of money. Let's be real. Like, it's not for the rest of us. And America needs to break itself, fix that system, change laws, again, get out of women's vaginas, because I'm sick of it, and let us be great. This is a lot of stuff that we got to deal with.
Let me ask you this, because I don't think no one has ever mentioned this or brought this up, or I've never even paid attention. This sounds very racist, but it's not racist though. Did Mexican people and Asian people exist during slavery in the United States?
In the United States. Well, remember, parts of the United States was Mexico. So east of the...
Let me say it differently.
Yeah, say it again.
Say the same thing. In slavery, not United States. Like, was it like, hey, you too? You ain't white. You get in here too.
There was people of other ethnicities enslaved. I don't know specifically. I know like Chinese people in like the 1800s for sure dealt with a bit of that, but it wasn't like to the degree of Black people.
Like, hey, you ain't this color. You get in here too. You go and pick this up. Like, yo, I was just passing by. I was robbing up some spices.
Well, let's go back to the root of it. So when they first came to the U.S., they were trying to, over to the New World, they tried to enslave like the Taino people, the native indigenous people here. Mm-hmm. Like the circumstances were so grueling that it caused a lot of the native people to die off. Like, it was just like the work and the labor was way too intense. So then they were like, well, let's bring these Africans in and see what they can do.
So the Indians left.
They died. And then
not all of them.
Not all of them, but a group. Like, there's a group of, like, if you go to like Cuba and the island area, Taino people, a lot of them were like went extinct pretty much. The amount of labor, and then had to escape.
Taino. What's the state of Taino?
The state of?
What's Taino?
That's an indigenous group that was here in the state.
It's not like, that's Taiwanese.
No, it's like Native American or Native at that time. I think like what was that? Cuba or the DR? DR was the right place.
Yeah, white people is very specific when it comes to white.
And they brought diseases here. Yep, smallpox and other disease.
If that's the case, white people is very specific about Black people. They were very specific. They was like, nah. I see the Mexicans. They're right next door. Nah, let's talk about these niggas right here. Let's keep them here. I'm sure, and there's never a story of like a Black dude who escaped west and made it in Mexico. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sure that's where.
I mean, there's a lot of pieces of history that you won't get until like you travel. Like, there's like one of the first earlier presidents of Mexico was a Black man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's not a
escaped slave. Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably from, because they never made it to America. It's probably with the Belizean people like that, like South America.
But there was definitely groups of people that escaped west. There were Black cowboys and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your grandfather was a well-known abuser, right? Abused a lot of women. And I was like, yo, I know there's 13 movies about your grandfather. We got to keep making these movies.
I mean, her grandfather did it too.
That's how I feel about slave movies, man. It's like, yes, it happened. But it's like, hold on, this is a different angle of slavery movies. It's a different angle. He didn't just slap her. He hit her in her ankles like, whoop, 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 whoop. Then he went back like, yo, I'm tired to hearing how abusive they were to my mom.
But I think you have to dig at the level, like some of the stories. I hear you. And
Use the same analogy. How could you say it? We got to do it differently.
So it's more so like, but I really appreciate learning about how strong my mom was and able to overcome this using her smarts, her genius, or whatever, like her creativity.
She ate her vegetables. She got really strong cheekbones.
Well, because it's like there's so many stories that are untold. So a lot of this, yes, oppression porn, some people really get off on it, right? But on the other hand, it's like there's these stories of ancestors who overcame so much conflict, who overcame like the most brutal circumstances ever expected in humanity, experiencing humanity, who were able to like escape or dared the people and tried to rise against the slaves, because there's this thought that some slaves people enjoy being in slavery or whatever that school of thought is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, we were thinking people this whole time and we were being smart about our survival, and this person challenged the status quo, or this person wasn't even a slave and they went south and became a slave. Like, how crazy is this society? So I think those are we have to look at those stories, because we don't want to erase the humanity of those people who were enslaved. Like, it is hard to watch, and sometimes as a child you might have felt like especially embarrassed to keep watching like stuff like this. But when you actually understand the heart of the story and you hear these people in their own voices and what they had to overcome, I think like maybe there's a way to make it different so that white people are not always at the center of it, but that our people can be uplifted and we can say their names, because history has erased them.
I like analogies. If you're gonna do a slave movie, I prefer an analogy. Like if it was like something that has been keeping us down, oppression.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was, oh, I gotta think of something right now. Like it's a bad analogy, but just like high blood pressure, and it's like I don't know. It don't have to be black people. It could be anything that has kept us enslaved to something.
Mm-hmm.
And then it shows like this is an analogy of slavery. I prefer that versus the specifics of a white person. Like, what you say, nigga? Huh?
Yeah.
What you say? And it's like now I gotta look at like, one of my favorite actors, like, oh my gosh, you really sold that. I believe that.
You said that word a little too hard. That ER, you sold that.
Oh, Jason
Yeah.
Bateman. You make me feel
Yeah, I get it.
Violated.
No, I totally get it. So before we leave, I will say like I like the idea of analogies, and I think that's one way that we can tell the story. I think one thing I like about like the early part of the root stories is like they show people in Africa before slavery, which is actually something I've done in a script that I wrote. Like I want to show that there was humanity long before like our people had to experience this. And I think that's what's important. And I think going back to talking about racism in school and history in school is like the importance of teaching the slavery, enslavement the proper way is to give humanity to all people, like is to give voices to that story, and saying their names and honoring the ancestors. I think that's a big part of what we need to do in telling history right.
Yeah.
So all that to say, screw racism, screw this terrorist that's shooting people, screw white supremacy.
What is your answer to racism? How do you feel like if you were the president of the United States today, May 15th, how would you
do a declaration that all schools have to teach racism properly, that we need to do reparations, and that all people need to do like therapy or counseling to how do we talk to each other? How do we address these issues? I would be like, I absolve the Constitution of the United States of America and we're writing it all over again.
But you make it seem like everyone's cookie cutter. You make it seem like everybody's like, oh, I like what she's saying, and I'm going to apply
You said if I was America, right, the president right now.
It has nothing to do with you not being the president. I said if you are, you made it seem like everyone's cookie color, as in like, hey, President Tula signed this, and I have to do it. All right, guys, we're going to teach racism.
I mean, we love Russia so much. Putin was like, hey, we're going to extend the terms I can be president, and all y'all who don't agree with me can step down. That's what I would do. I take a book out of Putin's page.
What up, Black? What up, Rakia?
What's up, Rakia?
Yeah.
Well, that's all we have time for on today's episode.
Yeah, we have a shoot right after this.
I do appreciate y'all letting us go heavy today, but all that was on our heart. random ass conversations got deep on you.
Hey man, stop shooting, y'all. White people specifically.
Stop shooting black people. Stop targeting black people. Let us live.
And also I hate the fact they said the blacks. You seen that? The headline? They hit. Let me see. The headline was. It was like a white kid target the blacks. Pure evil. White teen targets blacks, killing 10 people.
There was before I go, BBC was saying something similar. It was like the United States is still reeling after like a shooting in Buffalo, New York, to what they think could be a racist crime or whatever. And I was like, y'all like oversimplifying like what's happening. You don't quite get it, but it's really other countries.
There was another thing that happened by the old white woman, 75-year-old, when she was kind of like mentally ill. She was talking to herself. She had a knife in her hand. Like, put the gun down, put the gun. She was kind of like just doing like this, like just like you can see that she's not mentally there. Mm-hmm. Like, put the gun down now. She just talked. She haven't moved at all. Just doing like this, just talking. And then this dude unloaded like 4 bullets in her chest. They kept saying she's mentally unstable.
Oh no! Wow!
And just unloaded on her.
Wow!
It's like the police are not the judge, jury, and executioner.
They're the executioner, though.
I don't know what it is about ankles that they don't
like. What kneecaps? That would take
them down.
Take them down.
Yeah.
You can't a shot kneecap. You're not gonna stand up and shoot.
Right. I think they just need to remove. I think they need to remove the torso part and the head part.
You're not allowed to target this. You will instantly be fired. Target below.
Yeah. Shoulders, knees, thighs.
Yeah.
Foot. I guarantee they'll stop.
Yeah.
Was it all black cops? I want to know who was. What happened to the nigga cop that ran in like.
Fired. Period.
To the Buffalo.
Period. Yes.
Like, what you doing?
It was uncalled for. You're not a hero.
Hey man, he shot my cousin Jumba.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Until next time, guys. Thank you so much. We've enjoyed it. We will be. I've enjoyed this conversation. And remember to catch us live, and you'll only know we're live if you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. And you can join the rest of our good folks here in the conversation. It's a lot of fun. We're family. We enjoy it.
I'm thinking about keeping it on for the shoot. Is that bad or good?
Well, you have to ask the client.
So toodaloo. Thank y'all so much. Talking about y'all. And that is all. Bye-bye.
So we have a photo shoot here today. It's not accidental. Cut the check. Give us our money. I think reparations should be like free college, money, and therapy. That's just me.
Cocaine.
No cocaine, Dion. That did enough. We might keep this on. We have a photo shoot coming up here in the loft that we might keep it on if the client consents. So we'll see. How do you need me? How we want to set up, Dion? We're gonna start. So we're just gonna shoot over there.
Yeah, I'm just about to wait first.
Okay. Do you want me to wait to dump the?
Position is what she on the way. I know if you're talking to her.
No, this is something else.
Hello. I'll leave y'all right here so y'all can see me break stuff down. So I have a photo shoot happening back there. I'm gonna break some of this stuff down. Thank you, Candace.
I was trying to be good. What did you say about the finish?
I dropped it right there.
Okay. Let me go get my thingy. We're gonna use the kitchen.
We are?
Well, I was asking. I was thinking maybe
You
yes.
talked to her only.
Well, she sent some pictures of them on the kitchen. I shared that picture with you. Like the person sitting on the kitchen counter.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll just start with it. Make it easy for ourselves.
Oh.
Get the tether going.
Yeah, Alicia, what's up, yo?
Where's this shot in the back? And just set this over on the desk.
Yeah, I did.
I be having great ideas and stuff. See, I need this. Jesus. Table.
That's my life, yo. Let me grab these cups up here.
I'm gonna put it on my desk. I'm gonna put it on the desk over there.
Big sis. Oh boy.
I just turned up the, like, adjust the AC. You had it on Alaska.
Oh, turn it on then. I do that because it gets hot.
I just took it to 72 versus 68. Leave it on now.
That's all right.
Maybe.
Just call me.
Nope, I just got them both our numbers.
Oh, this is Dion. Okay, sweet. I'll come out and grab you.
Y'all hear Dion's professional voice?
I heard you talking to Scott yesterday.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Huh?
I don't mind.
All right.
I understand the importance. Code switching. She's a bad magician.
She's all right.
He said she was bad. So if you're still watching, I'm just dumping the episode into our hard drive, and then I'm going to set up for this shoot. Which, while you're plugging up the stuff, make it? There we go. We're in business.
We just wrapped up on a photo shoot. I'm gonna music video. Podcast. Right?
Hello.
So great. It looks like a house.
I know.
It's nice. I know.
Let me turn some lights on for you, huh?
I got so excited about it a few months ago, but I wasn't able to like make it down.
Oh, did you do the photos?
Yeah.
So
Cute.
I seen the pictures. And
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry.
Oh, I didn't hear her say hi. No, I didn't. Hello. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
It's all good. I'm over here in the corner. Just hiding.
Saw my picture.
saw your pictures.
I'm just here to help her, so stay out the way.
And I think we can start in the living room.
Okay.
Did you close this and close the mirror? Did you bring anything as far as like seen a couple kitchen shots?
Yes.
So we can look at the kitchen.
Yeah.
That.
So I have a dress, businessy type heels, something, sitting in the house, like, oh, I'm gonna consult you on something. So just kind of standing or sitting, a couple spots, got great stuff, to complement the dress. And then the second shot I wanted to do, it could be second or third, probably, maybe second, the kitchen. I brought some strawberry, a cutting board, a knife, like cooking something that and and then the last one I guess would be like, using the mat or just like a little space where it's like I'm doing a little home workout, but you just see like the home background, which makes you feel like you're in the house. Yeah.
And we can adjust things to give it that look.
So we can kind of give that as the background, or this as the background.
Yeah.
And I brought the weights.
That was cute too.
Tarjay.
This is so my style. Like this is right here.
Oh man, that's amazing.
All right, so I'm gonna take my time and get dressed. I got everything just about prepared.
Yeah, you got to do. I'm about to. The bathroom's like right around the back here. In the dressing area if you want to like hang up your clothes.